Hi folks, Brian here again. This video is really aimed at those folk with an EV wanting to know how far can I tow with an EV, and it's also aimed at all those folk who, like me, have small yachts on trailers. The question there is, will an EV tow my yacht a reasonable distance? So let's explore this question and see what we learn from a trip that I'm about to do. I am based in Waiouru, New Zealand, and I'm heading north towards Lake Rotoiti up in the central part of Bay of Plenty, using my EV6, which you can see here, and towing my Waiouru, which is 6 meters long, and the whole set, the boat and trailer, weigh about 930 kilos. The dark blue line shows my journey from Waiouru to Okawa Bay at Lake Rotoiti. I'll be refueling at Bulls, Waiouru and Taupo, and also a little bit at Rotorua on the way. So that's the journey on the North Island. It's actually just a bit after 7 and I'm on my way for this journey towing the boat. From the photo in the previous clip. Just entering onto the expressway just north of Waiouru here in New Zealand. Boat's on the back and we've got about 400 kilometres to go. So far, just in suburban areas and off the motorway, I've been getting through at the rate of about 23 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. Normally with the car, just with passengers in, we get about 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. I am expecting much worse results once we get out on the highway, because as we know, with EVs, motorway speeds are not their friend. But here in New Zealand there is a speed limit of 90 kilometres an hour when towing a trailer. So thanks to Mr. Kia's cruise control, we're going to do 90 kilometres an hour or 91 or something like that for the rest of the day. So now I'm sitting on the motorway, on the expressway. The display is telling me we're doing 25 kilometres, that's 25 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, which should mean that we get to Bulls, which is the next where we're going to stop for a fast charge, and that's about 110, I think, kilometres from here. So that'll give us a better average. From here to the first stop, it's level travelling, there's virtually no hills. From there on, we start to rise into the centre part of the North Island, and the altitude gets up to, I think, 1,500 feet above sea level, something like that. So I'll come back to you when we've got to Bulls. Well, we've made it to Bulls. And for those folk who are watching who are not in New Zealand, Bulls is a little town about halfway between the capital Wellington and Taupo, the big lake in the middle of the country. We've covered just around 100 kilometres, and the car has averaged 33 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. So leaving home at 100%, I've got here with 63% on board, and I'm connected up to a fast charger now, 300 kilowatt jobby, and that will be charging us up fairly shortly, and then we'll be on our way again. So far towing with the EV6 and about 900 kilos of boat and trailer on the back has been reasonably successful. Well, actually, I'm not all shook up. We are now leaving the charge station at Bulls. We took 20 minutes and we went from 63%, and we're now sitting at 98%, which is close enough. The last little bit obviously takes quite a bit longer to get in, to shove in. So our next stop is 110 kilometres away, and that is a place called Waiouru. For those of you who want to look at the map,
in
it's
100
about
meters, the destination is on your left.
The machine's telling fibs. And Waiouru is in the centre of the North Island. It's about the highest point of the trip, and there's quite a bit of elevation from here.
You have arrived at your destination.
Oh,
your route guidance is finished.
Thank goodness for that. Anyway, yes, the Waiouru is where the military training camp is in New Zealand, one of them, and it's fairly high. There's a mountain alongside called Mount Ruapehu, which we're not going up. So we're just about to get back out on State Highway 1, and we're showing 98%, and we've averaged so far about 33 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. I expect it to be more for the next stretch of the journey because we're going to be going a rather more uphill. Anyway, when we get to Waiouru, we will come back and tell you how we're going. Well, here we are at Waiouru. We have gobbled up a bit more power coming up the hill. It has been a long time from down at Bulls. So we're safely here. We've used about 44 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres on this long steep climb, but from now on it's even going and slowly downhill, so that should be all right. So far everything is going sweetly. We have filled up at Waiouru. We've got nearly 98% on board, and it's taken us about 25 minutes or so. Time for a cup of tea, and a little wander to the small room at the gas station, and we can see in the background of the camera there, you can see them, possibly see Mount Ruapehu in the distance there. Don't know how it's going to come up, probably won't. Anyway, so far so good. We're heading north now. Heading north onto what's called the desert.
On current road for more than 50 kilometres.
According to their voice, we've got 50 kilometres. We're heading towards Taupo now, which is a big lake in the centre of the North Island, and the town on the northeast corner of it is where our next stop is. So far so good. Beautiful day here. And this part of the world has often got 6 inches of snow during the winter, but not today. Charging in Taupo in Roberts Street. Used quite a bit less energy on the way from Waiouru to here because it's generally downhill and there was a lot of roadworks, which meant and road speed restrictions, so in many cases it was down to 50k or less. So next stop after this is Lake Rotoiti, so all going well so far, except of course the charger here decided to have a hissy fit, and I had to start the charging session again after I had thought I'd started it, so that's added probably 15 minutes to the journey. So back to you when we get to Okawa Bay. We arrived here at Okawa Bay and after 400 odd kilometres, and none other than Hugo rolling up with his scamp in the background. 412 kilometres later, we successfully got to Okawa Bay in Lake Rotoiti and had a couple of days on the lake as it happens, and we're heading back this afternoon back towards Paraparaumu, another 412 kilometres, and we'll have another report on how the EV has gone towing it. But so far it's been successful. It's Taupo on the way home, charging up here, about a 20-minute stop, and as you can see there's no room for the boat, so the boat is in the distance over there alongside Briscoe's. So there's few inconveniences when you're towing with an EV. Well, this might look a little bit strange, but that's the view in the camera from the back of the car, and we are travelling along the edge of Lake Taupo near in the middle of the North Island. Charged up at Taupo half an hour or so ago, and I don't know whether you can see this information on the screen there, but we've averaged 31.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. Oh, there's a big logging truck. One of the hazards of driving in New Zealand. So far things are going well. My next stop is going to be at Waiouru. We'll chuck in a bit there, and then the next stop will be Bulls on the way home. So well, that might be a little bit of a wonky section to the video. Let's hope it works out when we get there. So thanks for watching. We'll look forward to the next step in a few moments. Now back at Waiouru, charging again. This time I'm only putting in about 30% because I'm going downhill from here to Bulls. It's 120 odd kilometres, and that's from 840 metres above sea level to about 40 metres. So there's a long downhill component there. And once again, moving the camera over here, the boat is separated from the car. Hopefully more people will set up charging spots which are suitable for driving through with a trailer. More later. Bulls. It's been an interesting trip down from Waiouru to here. We've lost about 800 metres in elevation, and as a result we've only used about 27 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres as to about 34 on the same journey in the opposite direction between here and Waiouru. So obviously gradient does have a bearing on things. I've stopped at Bulls to get put some in. I'm about 112 kilometres from home, and I could make it. I've got 50% on board at the moment, but I'm just putting a bit more in to have a little bit of cover when I get home. I haven't run it on any of these stops below 40%, and most of the time I have recharged when I'm at 50%. So I will work out when I get back to base how many kilowatt hours I've actually used on this 850 odd kilometre journey, and end at the end of the video. So let's see how we go.